Hey, it's Terry from Everything Homestead. Today, you get to see my chicken coop. I'm going to show you all the things that went in considering how I constructed this thing. Just like everything else I do, I went online, looked at all the different ideas and concepts, cherry-picked the things I wanted to put into my situation, and this is what I came up with. Now, some of the key things, trying to talk here. Some of the key things I had to keep in mind for what I needed to accomplish here was, number one, the overall safety of the chickens. I live in an area that has coyote, fox, raccoon, on occasion bear, on occasion mountain lion. We've had mink. There's all sorts of things here that can come in the middle of the night and wipe out the complete flock. So that was my number one thing that I had to take in consideration. Number two, the weather, the temperature fluctuations. Winter, 40 below zero can easily happen. Summertime, it can be over 100 and humidity can get kind of high. So aside from the predators and the climate, I also had to design something. Well, because of all those things, I couldn't make a mobile chicken coop like you see a lot of these people trying to accomplish nowadays. It's just not something that would work. I could put a mobile coop anywhere in my yard, and overnight a fox or a coyote could dig a hole underneath that and get in there within 10 minutes. It's just not worth the risk of losing all my birds just because of the fact I could say I've got a mobile coop. Wasn't going to go that route, so it has to be a stationary thing. And also, I tried to give them a outside run area that's plenty big, so I like to keep them comfortable as far as space goes. So the space is probably the third thing that I had to consider for how many birds I wanted to fit inside this coop comfortably. The more comfortable that the birds are is one of the factors as to having a good egg laying flock. One other consideration I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure they had enough shade in the summertime, so I'll show you the shade I provided for them. And in the wintertime, I had to make sure they're warm enough. So I had to take in consideration all the things I have to do to make sure they stay warm when it gets extremely cold. So let me show you around. I'll show you the setup I have. Hopefully some of these ideas that I acquired off the internet and off YouTube, hopefully the things I show you help inspire you and give you some ideas on things that you can incorporate into your build. And I did this myself. If I can do this, you can do this. So don't let it intimidate you at all, because you can do it. Just think it through, get it done. Now I can see on my YouTube channel analytics page that 99% of you that watch my videos don't give me a thumbs up. If you don't think I deserve it, that's fine. But if you would, I'd really appreciate it if you could just do a thumbs up, push that button real quick. I'd really appreciate it, helps my channel. And I would be truly honored if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. That'd be a great thing for the channel. I'd really appreciate your support. So we'll start with just a walk around of the exterior, and I'll show you the parts of this coop, and everything in this coop has a specific purpose and reason as to why it's there, why I built it the way it is. So to start with, it's the base core of this building is 8 foot wide by 12 feet deep. I have a overhang with the roof. You can see on the right side there and the far end there. My initial thought process was inside this building I would divide it into two sections. One side for birds that their main goal is to just lay eggs for me. The other side I would raise the birds in a separate pen, I guess you could say, and those would just be meat birds raised just for the meat. So I'll show you that in a little bit, but you need to know that because on the outside here you'll see these little white doors, the rectangle doors on the bottom side there. Those are, on this side, it is a clean out for the floor on the one pen. And I would open it up for you right now, but there'd be a lot of bedding that would fall out. But I can go on the inside and show you the inside view of it. For this pen, I guess I'll keep going around this way. So for this pen, it goes about from that door to this right corner. It's about 3.5 feet wide, and then it's 12 feet long down there. I have this opening right here for them to come out, and I built this ramp for them to use to get in and out of the coop. And you've probably seen from my other videos, I've got their dust bath and that tire. I got their water out here. One of the factors that I consider is I wanted to have them be shaded in the summertime. So I've got this overhang I built on, extended that over just for the shade purposes, and I put this coop up in the air just a little bit. And one of the reasons is for the shade and more square footage of area for them to roam around. One of the key factors in having larger numbers of birds is to have square footage for them to roam around, so under the building made perfect sense. That's one of the reasons why I put it up there. I should go back here. The other reason is for these cleanouts here, I can take my wheelbarrow and roll my wheelbarrow right up against the wall there, open that hatch, open this hatch here, take that clasp off, flip up the door, reclasp it up here, that holds the door open, and I just take my shovel and I shove it right onto my wheelbarrow, and then it goes right over here to this pile over here, which is my basically a big compost pile that I can turn back and forth with the loader on the tractor. And that pile eventually goes to be my fertilizer for my gardens. So coming around this way, you can see inside the pen I got a door right there. That's a dividing door between the two pens, between the laying hens side and the meat bird side. Now the Bielefelder birds that I have, you can see on both sides they're the same kind of bird. This particular breed of bird is a dual purpose bird. So I use them for both egg laying, which they do an excellent job at egg laying, and I use them for meat birds because they are a large bird and have a lot of meat on them. So on this side, then you'll see this is a separate run outside for the other part of the pen. You see the ramp I have there that goes up to their opening in the coop. I have the water containers I have outside for as long as I can. In the wintertime it freezes up so bad sometimes I have to move them inside, but all the chickens I've ever had are kind of sloppy drinkers and they spill it all over the place. If you have these water things on the inside, it makes kind of a wet mess inside the coop, and I have to change the bedding more often, but I have them outside as long as I can. Works really well. See the sign on the wall there. So here again, I put an overhang off the end here too to provide more shade. Over here on this side is the main entrance to the outside run. It's about a 6-foot door. Just got a real simple gate latch. Pull it open. I could also access the door over there to get into the other side if I need to. So back to this side now. I'll back up and give you an overview. So here again you see these little doors on the bottom. And the right one is a clean out for this pen on this side. This one is actually an access to the nesting box. Now I know I said this is the meat bird side for now, but if I want to put laying hens in here and I want them to lay eggs, I've got the nesting box ready to go. So with this one, let me show you how this works here. I take this clasp off, flip this up, should hook on there, put this clasp back on there, that holds it up. And this is the back side of the nesting box. Now in here, inside the coop, I'll show you in a little bit, the nesting box, there's 3 nesting boxes in there. And when I constructed this, I just put some indoor outdoor carpet in, I lined it with that, and I sloped this box back to this opening. It's about a 13 degree angle, so when they lay the egg, it rolls out from the nest, hits this bumpered area, and just sits in this trough right here. A lot of times if you let the eggs sit in there too long during the day, the chickens will be curious and will end up picking at the eggs, and they'll poke a hole in them and they'll start eating the eggs. So this is a good way to get the eggs away from them as soon as they lay them, and they roll out of the way, and they could get their head through there to pick at the egg, but it's really tough and not very likely. So this little thing works great. And I've had 14 hens in this section in the past, and the 3 nesting boxes work just fine. They don't all need to lay an egg at the same time, so they take their turns going in and out of the nesting box. Okay, so other than that, let me talk just a little bit about this wire mesh netting fence material that I use. So this is, I believe it's 2-inch by 3-inch squares, and it's the stronger wire to keep the raccoon and other animals out. Now the key thing to realize, and a lot of people that raise chickens don't realize this, is that chicken wire, the wire that's like most of it's a silver color, as poultry netting or whatever they call it. That regular chicken wire is an octagon type shape, circles in it type wire. That wire is only meant and is only good for containing chickens. It is not meant to keep predators out from your chickens. I learned the hard way. I've come out to my coop a couple times in the past, and with a different coop than this, and the animals will just come up and they'll rip a hole right through the wire and kill your chickens. So it's such a weak wire. It's only meant to contain chickens. That's its only purpose. And there might be people who tell you otherwise, but I've had too many holes ripped through them. A raccoon can rip a hole through it and they'll take your chickens. So another precaution that I took is that I have coyotes and fox that dig holes underneath the wire to get in. So when I built this place, and I'll probably show you a picture, I dug a trench around the entire coop. I took the wire, when I installed it, went all the way down to the ground, and I put that wire all the way down into the trench about a foot down below grade. And then so it kind of goes down in the trench and cradles the bottom of the trench with the wire. And then I took these cinder blocks and I set these cinder blocks on top of the wire all the way around the coop, and then I backfilled over the cinder blocks. And I made the mistake of backfilling with gravel and didn't realize the chickens would scrape that away. So I still have to come back and cover these bricks or blocks up again. I'll just use some black dirt. Bit of security for the coop to make sure that nothing can get at the birds. So I built this thing myself. I'm a cheapskate. Got the materials wherever I could at auctions. Got some of the product is brand new from the store, but I want you to guess how much I spent on this in total to build this thing. I'll give you a hint that might surprise you. Put in the comment section what you think my all-in cost is for this project, and I did it myself, so I don't count the labor, just the materials. At the end of the video, I'll let you know about what I spent. So many of you who know me know that I'm kind of a cheapskate, and so with that in mind, I waited a couple years before I actually started building this. I would go to auctions, a lot of auctions, and over the couple of years I would pick up items really cheap to put this project together. For instance, the windows, when I bought the windows, they were brand new windows, but I bought them at an auction for a hardware store that was going out of business. So I got the boards. Quite a few of the boards were from an old deck we tore off my house, like the silver colored, lighter colored boards you see on the run out here across the bottom. Those are all, well, we paid for them when we built the house originally, but for the most part for this project they were free. I did have to pay for some pieces of lumber for the main building, studs, and I think the posts. I had to buy the posts for this, and I had put these posts on cement piers. These cement piers are 12 inches in diameter and they go down 4 feet. So there's a lot of money in bags of cement because I got a lot of piers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess that would be 8 piers going down 4 feet. Takes a lot of bags. And obviously that tire didn't cost me anything. You can find them just about anywhere laying alongside the road. So, I mean, I got the tin on the ceiling up there. I bought that at my local hardware store, and it was in the closeout section, and so I didn't even pay much for that. I mean, they're different color, but who cares? It is what it is, because this building is completely insulated. So the walls are insulated and the ceiling is insulated. That's part of keeping them warm in the wintertime. The windows are situated so airflow, I can open up the windows and there'll be good airflow going across the coop. So everything has its purpose. It's not just thrown together for cosmetics or just to say I have windows. Everything has its purpose. Let's go inside. So just inside this coop I have a little entryway just to put my feed, some bedding, and I have a door here, obviously going into each side of this building for each coop. I'll show you here in a second. I have some feeders that I just fill from here. There's one here behind me. So I have my bin of feed right here, and I just scoop it into these 2 feeders, and I'll show you them in a second. Let me turn you around, I'll give you a closer look at this stuff. Right here I have 6 bins that I keep the feed in. They are airtight, so I get the feed in the bag and I dump them into this thing. It's airtight, so it keeps the feed in good condition for the chickens. And I have another little bag of bedding that I like to spread around. I do the deep litter bedding method, so I only have to change the bedding every 4 to 6 months. It's not too bad. And so I got a thermometer here. I like to keep a close eye on the temperature in here. If it gets a little too hot, I can open the windows, get some ventilation. As you can see, let me back up a little bit. I got this divider up here. I built the wall down the middle of the coop, and I divided it with this, it's like a plastic mesh material so they can't jump side to side, but I wanted the air to flow side to side, so I only built a half wall and left this with some netting so the air could flow through real nice. But let me show you this feeder here. PVC pipe, just take the cap off. That just keeps any bugs or dust or dirt or any of this bedding from flying around, getting down in there. Probably not that important, it's just my OCD. And so then down here, I would just take the lid off, got the feed. Took me a while to find the right size scoop. Goes right in there and dumps in. And that's how I deliver the feed to the chickens, and I'll show you the other side here. So this is my meat bird side. Come around. You see, so here's the other side of that feeder. It's just a long tube, goes all the way down. And then all the way down here, just put a little elbow on there. Took my Sawzall and cut a little angle on the end of there. And you see that I put that wire across there. They get their feet in there, they claw out the food until this whole tube is empty. So I put that wire across there to keep them from doing that, and they could just get in there and just peck at the food just fine. And this tube is about 4 feet, a 4-foot tube, will last 12 chickens about 2 days. It's at least 2 days, probably a little more than 2 days. So it keeps me from having to constantly feed every single day. And then if you have, you can have the same size tube. If you've got six, seven chickens, you know, you do the math yourself. Anyhow, coming back around, you see I got this half wall. They like to perch up here, so I have to put some bedding up there to get them to knock off their own poop off there. I put this roosting bar, which consists of just an old stick. I screwed it into the wall. It's important to have a place for them to perch up on at night. And so back to the old, everything's got a reason, everything's got a purpose behind how it's constructed. That's the nesting box on the inside. I just showed you the outside a little bit ago. I do have a lid on here, so I can flip this over and close it so they don't sleep in there at night and make a big mess. But, so, it's recommended that the light coming in the window does not shine into the nesting box. And it's recommended not to have the roosting bar over the nesting box, because they'll be pooping all over where your eggs are probably going to be in that area anyway, even though the poop probably wouldn't fall in there. But so light helps promote egg laying. So it's important to have a window shining into the pen, but it's also important to make sure it's not illuminating into the nesting box. For whatever reason, they like to lay eggs in the dark. So that's this side. Now you see there's a door over there. I have it connected to a rope that goes up to the ceiling, up to some pulleys, and up to here to this washer hooked on a nail. So at night, if I want to close them in, just take this off. You'll see over there, I can close the door. It's like a guillotine style. And then in the morning, I come in, open it up, let them out. And the biggest reason why I do that is there's one predator here that is really hard to protect the chickens from, and it doesn't happen very often. But the mink, they are an animal that will come in and wipe out the entire flock, and they do it just for fun. I had that happen once, and I was not very happy. I left that door open. I got a little chain hook here that, I mean, chickens don't know how to open doors very well, so you don't need much of a catch system on the doors. I had two mink come in, and they wiped out all but like two birds that I had. I came out here and it looked like there's some mass murder. They didn't come here to eat the chickens, they just came here to kill the chickens. They decapitate them. And the reason why I know there were two mink is because I thought they would come back. I set some live traps out, and I used the dead chickens that they killed for bait, and I caught both of them. And they are tiny, but they are a vicious animal. And they can sneak right through those wires. I mean, it's hard to protect against those mink, but luckily there are not many mink, and hopefully there's no mink around me anymore. I think I got rid of them all. So right now, this is the side I have for my laying hens. And I didn't build a nesting box like I did on the other side. So this is one that was purchased, and it works really well. I forgot to put the roosting bars down so they can actually get into it. So they will hop up on there, lay their eggs. Eggs get laid there. This one's angled too, so then it rolls down into this contraption down here away from the chicken, which keeps the eggs from getting pecked away at. Here again I have roosting bars over there. I have two of them going across. Windows, either one shining in at the nesting box. It's the feeder on this side. Just dropped it to the wall, same deal. Got another door with the rope, just like on the other side. I am gonna replace these doors. Oh, here's the Cleanout. Forgot to show you that. That's the inside shot at the Cleanout. I was opening that up, sweep stuff out the door, really nice. I am going to replace these doors here. They're a piece of wood right now, but I had a rat come in one time and he chewed a hole through the corner of it, so I'm going to replace that and make that a sheet of metal. And so it'll be impervious to that kind of thing too. Another reason why I like these feeders is it's a limited amount of food, and if a rodent of some type gets in here, there's only so much food they can get. They can't get any of that because it's all sealed up. And sometimes the roosters will throw a fit, and if anything tries to sneak in like a mouse or something, the roosters will basically play with them until they leave. So one thing that I forgot to point out, with the bedding, I can sweep it out. You just take a scoop and it slides right out. I'll show you some pictures of when I was building this place, but I have linoleum floor installed underneath all this. Two purposes for that. One, the bedding slides out really nice, cleans out really nice. Makes it easy, it just slips right out for the most part out those doors. Number two, it's a waterproof barrier. If the chicken's bedding is a little damp or some water gets spilled or something, it doesn't ruin the floor in the coop. I was just speaking about rodents a little bit ago, and that's another good reason to put your building up in the air like this. Rats will go underneath your building. If I had this building sitting on the ground, the rats would tunnel a hole in the dirt, come up underneath the building, and when they'd sit at their leisure and just chew a hole through the floor of the bottom of your building, get into your building through the hole they just chewed. So that's another good reason to keep it up in the air, to keep any rats or snakes or anything like that out of your coop. One other intentional thing that I did with this coop is I painted the inside white. Along with the daylight that comes in through the windows, the color white on the walls also helps promote egg laying. So the whole idea behind this structure is to make them as comfortable as possible, as safe as possible, so they are better egg layers. With these particular birds, I'm getting pretty close to 1 egg a day per bird. I even got this wood door at an auction for $3. I mean, I didn't pay a whole lot for this coop overall. Kids gave me some signs to hang on there. And there's also, you might have noticed, I don't know if this showed up in any of the other footage, but there's this aluminum can hanging there. I'll leave a card in the corner for you to click on. I got a video on why that's even there. It's kind of interesting. So I hope this coop gives you some ideas to build your own coop, and you don't have to use all these ideas or any of these ideas, but hopefully it inspires you to do what's best for your area. Like I said, the mobile chicken coop is just not something that works where I live. It's just not for me. I like the concept, but it just doesn't work. So I just give them as much space as I can. If I can give them at least 2 square feet per bird, I think they're just fine. And if you can keep them fed, keep them watered, they give you food. Butt nuggets, as they say. So if you have any comment suggestions, let me know. I really could use some thumbs up. I need a lot of thumbs up to help promote my channel. And feel free to subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. If you feel like there's something I missed that I didn't talk about, just let me know. And I'll catch you later.